Let's unpack this then. You said 9, which is as close to a 10 as can be.
Yeah.
After everything you've heard, you still maintain 9. Why?
Because ngiyamthanda. And ngale ndlela ngimthanda ngayo, it sounds so crazy. And I'm sure
I mean, it does sound crazy, sis. I ain't gonna lie to you. We all looking at you like you're crazy. Look, can I be honest with you? First and foremost, welcome to Little Black Book. Little Black Book, you know what time it is. Listen, you know what time it is. Can I be real with you? I almost shed tears watching Nancy and Bahali on the show. Okay, I hope I'm pronouncing his name right. So if I am pronouncing it wrongly, correct me in the chat. I feel such emotions for Nancy, and I tell you why. Because I see the delusion, but at the same time, there is a small chance this could work. It's a risk. But in reality, for me, in most occasions, to her throughout the course of the year, because Mia came on the show on the reunion and she exposed what basically Bahali did not want to tell his partner about what he actually did when he got up to the house. So the pain that she felt a year ago has been magnified once more again at this particular point. And the reason being for it, well, she's also pregnant. I know I'm spoiling it for you, but you've got to be spoiled. Okay. All right. She's pregnant. Okay. And this is going to change the way that she's going to see the world completely. Because should she be pregnant now and having to fend for herself emotionally, mentally, financially, spiritually as well in this space, it's a very scary place to navigate as a woman. I can understand that. I can feel that. You are now vulnerable physically, which you were already physically vulnerable in a world that's filled with men, but to be physically vulnerable with carrying a child with responsibility, of course you're going to look at it differently. And the responsibility of a child that you are now carrying is a man that was cheating on you a year ago, and y'all kind of worked it out to be in a better place, but now you find out there's more lies. Yeah, that's painful. Okay. And I can understand why she said she's a 9 out of 10 when it comes to the relationship, meaning she's willing to stay in this relationship and really wants to make it work, regardless of what she heard in the reunion. Now, I don't want to make it about Bohale and Nancy only because we're going to talk about all the different couples, but I wanted to start off strong. And I definitely want to do a part 2. I do a specific video for them to say that this was so painful to watch for them to specifically, because I could see the pain that she was going through. I saw the vulnerability, but I also saw that this is a man who's full of shame, regret, guilt, and embarrassment. Now, whether he really truly is actually sorry in terms of wanting to change his behavior is another conversation in itself. But I totally understood where Nancy was coming from, why she chose him. It's just, for us as an audience, it's given delusion. Now, talk about the rest of the reunion, and then we'll go deeper into each couple separately. I want to be very honest. I think there were other couples that didn't need to be together, right? And that we shouldn't root for. Okay, all right. The same way we're not rooting for Nancy and Bahali, I'm also not rooting for Nikiwe. Is it Nikiwe? Me and names are awful. Nikiwe and Naledi. I'm not rooting for them. One, because they didn't sort out the issues. Naledi wants to be polygamous, right? Naledi and Nikiwe wants to be monogamous. Okay, so you got 2 different styles of operation. So wait, hold a minute. Sorry. We haven't sorted out the issue. So Nikiwe wants to be monogamous, but Naledi wants to be polygamous. And now Nikiwe has found herself in a position where she's willing to, and I want to say the same thing about Nancy, be deluded about it by saying, well, I have to think about how I feel and not think about how she feels. I got to be true to my feelings and let her be true to hers. I can't change her. Yeah, you can't. So what are we doing in this relationship if you know that she doesn't want to not be monogamous? She wants to have several other partners too. We didn't really suss through that properly, right? And actually, Naledi was actually kind of moving like how dudes move, right? And I shouldn't even say that because that makes it sound like only men do bad things. But she's moving, obviously, the man in the relationship, but she was moving in a particular way, which also wasn't honest, right? And she's won in the end and got her way. But reality of the situation is, I don't see the longevity of his relationship fully because I don't see Nikiwe actually being true to herself. I think Nikiwe talks a very good game, like most of us do, but is just like anybody else, is suspect to fall prey to having a desire and letting that trump your feeling of being lonely and being without somebody that you care about. We'll talk about that a little bit later on. Now, Monaka and Gony, obviously, they broke up in the relationship, which we all knew was going to happen because Gony was just cheating like a prick. I mean, let's be honest. He cheated in the relationship, didn't tell her. He cheated he didn't cheat there. He then confessed to it on the show, but didn't really confess to it. And then obviously, they tried to make it work after the show, and that didn't really work out. which again makes sense. We're looking at it, and all the people in the show were also in agreement. They didn't think it was going to work because we were looking at the behaviors and going, well, Gunsi is not really respecting Monaka, and I understood why the crew got onto him because his inability. And there was a part though I wish they would have shut up and let him speak. I say this a lot on these shows where they're oftentimes women orientated audiences. What they do is they shut the man down so you can't actually have a conversation. Because I would love to hear more about what he had to say, because it was more about what he was feeling that we needed to hear. Like we did it for Bahali, we got to have a bit more of what he was saying, but we didn't do it for Gunsi. I was like, let Gunsi speak. I know Monaka is like a heartthrob on the show, and young girl, but let him speak so we can understand where he's coming from, because it takes him a little while for him to open up. Let him speak, right? So they weren't going to make it together. Lyn and Cuda, can't be honest with you. Let's be freaking honest. Okay, let's be freaking honest. We all knew this coming to an end too. I think there's problems on both sides, right? But mainly Cuda, because Cuda had an inability to keep very good boundaries. But then Lyn obviously caught feelings on an emotional level, heavy emotional. Now, just because you didn't sleep with somebody didn't mean we're acting like emotional cheating isn't so heavy. Or I should say, someone emotionally catching feelings of somebody isn't so heavy. I'm so sorry. Listen, Bahali is there. He cheated, and by all means lied about it. Let's slate him. He's a villain. Let's nuke him down. But are we going to be now downplaying the fact that people are catching emotional feelings? Old girl caught feelings for his flatmate, which is not necessarily his boy, and we'll discuss that because I don't know what will happen in there. Coulda tried it as well. He tried to manipulate the situation by saying bro code. There's no bro code because he knew you for 7 years and didn't know you had a girl. That's mad to me. Okay, that's even more of a red flag for me than anything else. But Lyn actually caught emotional feelings for this guy Vizo, and we're not talking about the fact that she caught emotional feelings. You know how heavy that is, and it's because we don't often see the manifestation of that, right, in the same way that we do with sex. But we'll talk about that again a little bit later on. And then finally, two people, Wilfred and Clayton. Let me be very honest with you. I like Wilton. I like Clayton. I think they're really cool. I love watching them on the show. Now, with obviously Wilfred and Clayton, I think they're probably the most healthiest. After doing the work that they need to do to make sure the relationship is going to make the relationship better, I can see the growth, right? We can see the way that obviously Clayton realized he has to take accountability for the fact that he was mistreating Wilfred, and also because he was actually being hungry about the way he was taking attention from other men simply because he had an insecurity and being a people pleaser. He admitted that. And I thought that was some growth that was beautiful to see. I love seeing that. So there's accountability there. And finally, Sia and Pretty. Can I be honest with you? Pretty ain't changed. Okay, now they may be having more conversation. They're probably having more accountability. Now, I said the problem was on both their sides because Sia is too quiet, and he's still too quiet. He just agrees and says yes to everything, and he's a yes man. That's the problem I have with Sia. Okay, and then with Pretty, it can be loud is the wrong word. And when people say, "Oh, I'm very direct," well, being direct also understands that when you be assertive in your communication, you also know how it's going to be delivered to the other person, and you consider how your other party may receive the information. You can still be assertive without being rude, and I feel like Pretty just teeters on that edge of that, and calls it direct. Yeah. Okay. So we're gonna get a little bit deeper. We're gonna play a few more clips, and break down some of these couples as well, so you guys can have a conversation about some of these things because the key moments. Because Sia and his girl obviously came back. So let's have a little look at this situation here.
We've been really, really, really good friends. If we wanted to, our time in the house. Well, damn, Sia, we had a time. It was spicy. It got a little.
All right, cool. So before she goes deeper, I will just say that obviously she ended up actually coming out to say, and I'll play the clip in a second or two. She actually ended up coming out to say that that he had told her off camera that he wanted to give her babies. Now, do I believe he said that? Absolutely. I said this about Sia. Sia's manipulative as well. He uses his passivity and his innocent look as a way of manipulating you. He has a childlike innocence. If you call it an art seduction, it's a childlike innocence to him. As I don't know what it's called. It's like, I don't know what that seduction technique is called. So he acts almost like a child. It's like very innocent. Like, I'm the victim. But there is no victim here. Like in this situation, because his inability to speak up and put effective boundaries across is a him problem. And it causes Pretty to also overstep the line. He needs to be able to say, this is my line, boundary wise, don't overstep it. And amongst all of that, he has passive aggressive behaviors, which lead him to the manipulative behavior of then doing what he did with Malay, right? Where he didn't tell the full truth. I mean, he didn't sleep with Malay, but he was definitely. I mean, he tried to gaslight the situation by, you know, they were asking him, so why did you have to put her on your chest, and why did she say all those things about sex and everything? Oh, you know, for me, you know, I just had to look after her. Well, you look after her by putting her on your chest. Okay, I mean, hey, I hear it, but you know, and then he tried to dodge a lot of the questioning around it. He was being defensive, and I can't remember. I want to see my notes. But he literally was moving around the point that they were trying to explain. And I was like, okay, this brother here, he's not being serious, he's not being truthful, and it's probably going to come out later on that he might cheat or something like that, because whilst he's a yes man, right, he's still able to move mad.
Naughty. It got kinky here and there. See, you know that I tried to reach out to you after the show, you know, to see if you really meant it when you said that you wanted to give me babies when the cameras were off.
Yeah, damn.
Bye.
All right, cool. So the crazy thing about the situation is obviously Olga looked like she really, really liked him. So
Amazing.
He tried to play it off. Look at his facial body language. The reason why he's pissed off is because the girl is messing up his current plans with his woman that he actually wants. The truth of the matter is, though, he's still got the insecurity. Now, it's funny because when she started doing some things that were a little bit naughty a little bit later on in the clips that we showed on the actual episodes, you see his body language shift.
There, you said earlier that you wanted to get laid, but not with her.
Mm-hmm.
But then she said in that clip that you said you wanted to give a baby off camera. Is it true?
I can't remember the.
You're lying. You're lying. You're lying. You're lying. You know you did. You know. You know how you know when Mandem start doing that whole I don't fully remember if I said that kind of thing. Yeah, you just need to know that they're lying already to you. Like they're lying to you because you either said it or you didn't. You know what I'm saying to you? Now, if you said, listen, I definitely didn't say that. Here's what I remember saying. You know what I'm saying to you? Oh, I don't really remember if I said that or not. No, you know what conversations you had. You know what, and that's a very strong comment to make.
Exact conversation, but we were just playing with words. Happy, like, not for me, Malay was just too flirtatious. Yeah.
Not him putting it onto someone else about Malay was too flirtatious. So what were you doing? And again, if he says that, you know what, she was on pushing the agenda and I just couldn't stop her, it further proves my point about the fact that Sia is a problem, because without good boundaries, he allows people to imprint what they want onto him. Well, he's going to cheat in that way, right? If the girl wants you and wants to sleep with you, you're going to do it just because I don't want trouble. I don't want to push back. I don't want boundaries to be broken. Now, of course, we see how he handled a text situation, but in a text situation, he's behind the phone. He can easily ignore her, but he can't ignore her when he's in the house. He doesn't want to make people upset. In fact, he said the exact same thing about Pretty, about the reason why he did not want to speak up when Pretty was talking is because he didn't want to make her upset. That is a problem. And that also causes long-term problems for your relationship and something that needs to be dealt with. I'm not saying it's an absolute no-no. It is something that needs to be dealt with because we already know he has a past of having a main chick and a side chick and then having a side chick to the side chick. Right? Okay? So that's a big thing. Now, obviously, it's a little bit later.
Not every couple survived the test.
Hold on.
Cheated on me. We
Wait,
spoke
hold on. I want to go just a little bit back. Sorry.
That's so sweet.
Okay, fantastic.
I mean, I will bite them. I used to date a guy that had beauty spot on his dick. I used to. No wonder God took that man away from me. I used to.
Okay, now I can't lie to you. She was talking the wickedest and the most about the sex aspect. Let me just play the little clip behind the scenes. You watch it behind. Now, obviously, the body language of him is what shifted. If you watch his body language in the corner there, right, arms spread on the back of the chair, very cool. I'm not gonna lie to you. I don't know how you take that particular video. He was not comfortable. Okay, and he's still not comfortable, and I still don't think he tells honestly the truth about how he actually fully feels. I think he's doing better. I don't think he's really there. Okay, all right. So I think that's something he can work on that I need to start doing as well. Quickly, I want to move on to Naledi and Nikiwe because I think again I want to break down their situation, which didn't make any sense for me. Okay.
Nikiwe is rolling her eyes at all of this, right? So I think what's clear for everyone is that whatever it is that is your truth isn't necessarily her truth. And that's fair.
Yeah, sorry, I just want to correct that, right?
Right.
My rolling of eyes is because I'm a petty ass high.
Okay, so my thing is, I don't think they're really being honest. I don't think Nikiwe is being honest. I think Nikiwe is a little bit insecure. In fact, they both are, but I think Nikiwe is insecure. And I think the reality of the situation is Nikiwe is not really being honest about what she wants from a relationship, right? How can you be monogamous, but your partner's not monogamous? How can you want monogamy and your partner doesn't want monogamy and you're being honest about what you are? Right? Now they live together, and what ended up happening is Naledi started dating other people. They broke up for a while, and Naledi took her ring off, which still isn't back on just yet. Yeah, so we're not that good yet. They may be back together, but they're not that good yet. This is actually a toxic relationship, but we didn't want to call it that because you see, we've got Bohale and Nancy as being toxic. Maybe Gunsin and Monaka a little bit toxic, but really and truly, Naledi and Nikiwe are actually toxic, and they're toxic because people are not being true. In a sense of that Nikiwe is not really being comfortable with the actual full-on truth, right? They ended up getting matching tattoos, which sounds really good right now, but actually isn't really the truth, right? About how you feel. Okay, so let me just try if I can put some English subtitles on. Hold on, there we go.
You just went polygamous. Could I talk to me?
I don't know. I think Naledi might be a polygamist.
I agree.
Yeah, definitely going through that journey to attaching that label to myself, also asking myself, is that something in my bloodline? That's
Now Naledi tried to play this off like, is this in the bloodline? All that nonsense. What she's not comfortable with is being a villain. What you're not comfortable with is you're not comfortable with that label, which you should be because you are, right? You're not comfortable with that label because you feel there's negative connotations with being a polygamist, especially when your girl is monogamous. You know what I mean? Now, of course, I guess that works in polygamy in terms of the fact that when you choose someone and have several people, they don't want other partners. But my thing is, Nikiwe, does she want that for Naledi? Does she want Naledi to have other partners if she's really being honest? No. So that's the problem we have. And we can brush it underneath the carpet and call it as sweet as we want, but yeah, we're not really being honest.
permissible in this lifetime for me specifically.
Nikiwe, you weren't okay with the setup a year ago. Why are you now?
If I want to be with this person who I met in this particular way, right? I cannot request they change.
Now, she's absolutely right. She can't request a change if she met that person in that particular state, etc., right? That is who she met. The person obviously grew to be changed and open. So she's learning to go back. She's learning to be okay with her being polygamous, right? My thing is, I don't feel like, again, you're being all the way authentic about it, right? So we'll listen again. Oh, I need to put this on.
I am satisfied and I'm good with one person if that person is worth my time, right?
What happened where you guys decided, okay, let's get back together?
We had been speaking at...
So again, it wasn't really fleshed out because she said, obviously, as long as that person is worth my time, I'm willing to stay in it. And I was like, this sounds like jargon. And it sounds a lot like I settled. And because I loved the person and I didn't feel I could do better, I wasn't ready to move on. I wasn't ready to go elsewhere. That's what it sounds like, but I'm not saying that it definitely is. I don't know 100% what her mindset is, but that's what it sounds like to me. And so I was a little bit like, okay, we might be back here a little bit later on once more in this relationship as well. So let's go obviously then to Lyn and Cuda, because I think Lyn and Cuda are very interesting as well.
The party,
that was the only
and she
time.
specifically said, I'm not trying to get snuggles while drunk.
He even says, maybe tonight we will because I'm not drunk.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like, that's someone who's consciously making a decision because I have a crush.
Okay, so Lyn and Cuda, I just heard, sorry about that, you didn't see it. Lyn and Cuda, obviously, in their situation, the reality of the situation is he didn't change, she did. Now, she already was signed out 8 months ago, but even so, he had a chance and he wasn't changing. But the problem is he wasn't changing fast enough. But not only was he not changing fast enough, there was also another component. She had emotionally attached herself to someone else called Vizo, who she was still talking to, right? Who they were supposed to meet up in Joburg and didn't end up meeting in the end. Now, Vizo doesn't want her the same way she wants him. And I'll show you a clip of that as to why I believe that. But I think that also helped her move along. She said obviously Monaka helped her, but I think not only Monaka helped her feelings for someone else also showed her that there could be somebody on the other side.
She had a crush on someone I lived with.
And I still do.
And I'm petty.
How did you feel about it, Cuda?
Just betrayed. And I think from my perspective at the time, it just felt like a stab in the heart, and I was very spiteful.
Now, it obviously definitely would have hurt. I mean, there's somebody you lived with and everything as well, which I totally understood. And I was on his side until Vizo came out and then said, brother.
Cuda was stopping me from going to see Lyn.
So What prevented you from seeing Lyn was the fact that you hadn't seen Cuda first,
Right.
right? So that stopped you. What do
Yeah.
you say about that now? We're talking about now.
I guess me and Lyn will talk about it.
Okay, now he said we'll talk about it, but they asked her would she want to do it, and she said yes, definitively, right? But he was struggling to say a word. Okay,
Adorable to see. That's why, like, I'm sorry, Kuda, but like,
hold on, let me see if I can get.
beautiful seeing the bond. Like, they were literally like our mom and dad. They were cutting cottage pie. They were up there in the kitchen dancing to that
That is so
music.
cute.
Now, obviously with these obviously with these two, right? One thing that is really interesting again is that he, you know, that Kuda's obviously been to therapy now. He's looking to change. He cuts off his hair. What needed to happen? I already said this, that Cuda has struggles the same way Lyn does. They both are people that can't end the relationship because they're afraid to be alone. And so because they were afraid to be alone, they didn't want to leave that relationship. They were afraid to start again, so they didn't leave the relationship. And it took something extreme. It got to a point where she finally snapped and was like, okay, I can't do this anymore. And then finally it ended. But in reality, she wouldn't have left had it not been for the fact that she finally had to, it took, 8 years to get to that place. But had been done almost 8 months before that, which is in the 6th year almost. And probably even before that because they broke off, came back, broke off, came back. And his inability to actually grow and learn in time tells us that, you know, that also Cuda maybe doesn't really see the issues of his problems. And maybe therapy was one of those things that helped him to see that, but it was far too late in his relationship, which is fair. I think Lyn made the right choice. Okay. All right.
The chance to, and on my part, subconsciously, Cuda was stopping
hold
me.
on a minute.
Lyn, I lived with Cuda, but I haven't seen Cuda and Lyn together in that setting. You know, Cuda has never introduced Lyn as his girlfriend to me. I had no idea they were dating.
How can you be in a house for 7 years and never know that you were dating who he was dating? What was Cuda doing in those 7 years? Cuda, how would you be living with somebody and never have brought your girl to the house or anything like that he knows that you had seen you in some setting? How? 7 years. That's crazy work. That tells me everything I need to know about Cuda too. You can't say bro code, but bro never knew you had a girl. There ain't no bro code there. I never knew you had a girl. I never knew who the girl was. Were you serious about her? Oh, you're moving mad, bro. Come on, bro. For 7 years, you had a girlfriend. You never. We're not being fully honest. Somebody's not quite right about that, you know. But obviously, could have seen somebody now. So you know, fair play to him as well. And yeah, we wish him luck. Very quickly, I want to come into obviously Wilfred and
I hate a bit.
hold on, let me go to Wilfred.
I think both ways.
Apologies. I want to go to Wilfred and
What's going on there?
I mean, at that time, I was still a work in progress.
Yeah.
That's why we came on the show to work on our issues. And I feel like in the beginning of the journey with Simo, I was still the old Clayton. And especially going through the second Villa Go, I had to realize that, wow, all these things that I've been doing has been hurting Wilfred so much.
Now, I really think it was actually a growth moment to hear how Clayton was speaking about himself. Like he recognized that it was people-pleasing tendencies. He recognized that he had made mistakes. He recognized he had hurt Wilfred as well. And of course, we know that obviously he cheated. We know that he was wrong. We know that he was misbehaving with Simo in terms of looking at the man and, you know, and flirting and doing way too much. But we appreciate the fact that at that point in time, now that he has come clean, he has been able to have a conversation. He has been able to shift the perspective and actually come to a place where he's realized how wrong he actually was. And I think that's great to place. I think that's a great place to be in. I think that's where you want to get to when you're trying to change the narrative of your relationship and birth a new direction. So I actually think they're probably the most healthiest relationship couple in the show because of the way that they was accountable. Now, do I believe that Wilfred can be a little bit more boundary led? Yes. Clayton's still some of the wording that he used for Wilfred in terms of him being over the top. He's not over the top. That's his natural energy. And so when he said over the top, I was still a little bit concerned about that. I don't like that wording because he's not over the top, right? He's just his boisterous self. That's it. But I love the two of them. I love the fashion sense from Wilfred too. You know what I'm saying, Chu? I love the energy that they bring to the table, both of them. And, you know, they're both a good looking couple. So shout out to them as well. Like, I really do appreciate their growth and seeing how they matured in that particular way as well. So yeah, good shouts out to them. Let's look at obviously the last one I want to say. Well, actually, I think that's it. It's well, Monaka and Gony as well, and their situation, because actually,
to you in this never-before-seen clip. Let's take a look.
It's always, like, he doesn't say I love you as much as I do. Because I said it before. I said it first. I was like, baby, I love you. And I was like, babe, when you're ready to say it, I'll be here and I'll be ready. When he said it, I almost cried, almost died.
Yeah.
I don't want to ever feel like I'm a delusional girl. Because I think I'm very smart. Like, I know the difference between right and wrong. I know when someone is playing me. I remember the first time.
Well, I mean, she is a little bit delusional. We all are. We've all been there. So you're young, you're 21, you're delusional. We're all delusional. So don't worry about darling. Now, with Monaka and Gony, I think the big thing here is not even about age. The big thing here is Gony lacked the discipline to stay faithful in a relationship and wasn't honest all the way through about his exploits within the relationship. He lied to her last year about the relationship. He then slept with her best friend. Everything about this relationship was off. Okay, it was disrespectful in many other ways. Now, it didn't get presented in the most violent way, but everything about it was just disrespectful. I didn't like the way Gony treated Monaka, and I felt like it was off, and I don't think she should have been with him. Second of all, I think Monaka's lying to herself too. And I always say this: manipulation, the biggest manipulation is yourself. It's when you lie to you. Monaka's not being honest. The kind of man that she actually requires, he is not it. He's sorry, my mic there. It's not about him being ill-disciplined or him cheating. It is simply about the fact that she wants a Christian man, one that prays. He ain't that guy. He never is, never will, which tells me that you may be saying you want those things, but you may not fully believe you deserve those things, number one, or two, you're not really there. And so actually, you saying you want those things is a future projection, but it's not of who you are presently. And obviously, they broke up 3 times as well within that case, and it was very difficult for them. Let me just listen a bit more.
Time him and I, did the deed. We didn't cuddle after. I felt so alone. I felt like used.
To in the way it ended.
Okay, but one of the things that did go right between the two of you.
Now, if you look at a lot of his body language, it's very nonchalant, very, I'm trying to be cool. Like, I'm here, bro. Like, you know what I mean? When he really actually cares. And the problem with that is that you're sending a signal to your partner that you don't care, even though you say you do care. It's actually a confliction. So this whole, like, bro, I'm cool. Like, it is what it is. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and I know it looks like my arm is in the air, but it's not. Actually, it's not in the air. There's actually a chair behind me, but I just realized that it doesn't look like that. And it's like, yeah, I'm just cool. I'm good. I'm nice. I'm blessed. I think my arm looks really good in this position, by the way. But it's sending a signal to your partner that you don't actually care about them, and that actually you're not fighting for them. You don't love them in the way that they're loving you. And body language is a very massive thing. But that body language also tells us about the way that probably you show up in a relationship. And I wish that would have had more space to be able to accommodate him to speak more about how he actually felt and what was going on, because he spoke about a little bit of manipulation, which I totally understood. And then Nikiwe shut him down. And I was like, why are you shutting him down? Keep quiet. You've got your own business. I want to hear what he's got to say. She literally shut it down when he was trying to explain that when someone's breaking up with you several times over little things, that is annoying. Now, does he do a but? Yes, he does. But on that point, it wasn't necessary for her to shut it down, because it's very true. If I'm trying to be in a relationship and you keep breaking up with me every time, that's also can be looked at as manipulation. You may not be doing it on purpose, but most manipulation that people do is on purpose. They're not trying to manipulate you. They don't have any better way to communicate with you. But you breaking up with me several times over, it's still an aspect of manipulation, and it can be very frustrating. Now, do I believe that that's an excuse for him to just do what he's doing? No, he knows what he's doing. But he made a better point, you know what I mean? But like she said, she said, I love you first, and was waiting for him to kind of say it, and he never really kind of said it. So, well, he said it later, sorry. And I said, okay, well, Monaka, I think you liked him more than he liked you. And that's very, very true, because obviously a comment that he made about, a fling that just lasted longer. I think he tolerated her and didn't actually love her. And that's something that he has to deal with a little bit later on. I mean, he loved her, but he tolerated her most of it, Let's quickly go to the last one. I don't want to stay too long. Like I said, I want to do a separate video for these two. But Bahale was exposed.
Wanted to make it less stressful, man.
Sure.
But Pella, you had a whole year, bro. Because if you deep it, you had to know some of the stuff was gonna come out. You know what I'm saying? Obviously not everything. You can't tell what's gonna happen.
To say something, Gony, and it's very hurting, because he will say, everything you're gonna see, everything you're gonna hear, that's the whole truth.
Now the problem with this is that Bahale is a liar. Okay, straight up liar. Okay, I've been one. I know what it looks like. I know what lying looks like. Right? He's a liar. And oftentimes the lying that happens here is because you are afraid of the judgment, you're afraid of the shame and embarrassment, the guilt that you feel. You actually oftentimes are controlling the narrative because you believe that a person can't handle all the truth you're about to give them. And that's why you're lying. Now, I won't go too deep in this, because I want to do a separate video for them. I was very much hurt for Nancy. I was pissed and hurt for Nancy, because I know I've been in that position, and it sucks if you tell me the truth from the very beginning, rather than dragging it out, mine wasn't a year, so I can understand that's even more worse. Mine was more a few weeks, and I wasn't ready to even engage until I got the full truth. Anyway, I kept on pressing for the truth, and when that person keeps doing things, they say they're gonna leave it alone. They keep doing more things, more betrayals, more lies, more hurts. Yo, it will finish you, right? And you got to learn how to almost disconnect from that person because they've done things to you that will break your heart in a way that cannot be mended or repaired, and that's something that you have to deal with. And I think that Bahali has done that with Nancy, because this coming a year later, and the truth comes out that there's more things that were happening. I mean, I don't think it's going to necessarily break her in that sense, because we already know he cheated, so you kind of take the gloss off it. But to find out there's more information he's lying about, and he cheated in the relationship as well, that was previous to Mia. It's not looking good. It's looking delusional. Okay. Now I'm going to leave it there because I'm going to do a part 2 to this. I don't want this video to be too long, but if you know what I'm talking about and you love what I'm talking about, you liked the review, make sure you leave a comment down below. Like, share, subscribe, click on that bell button for notification of uploads. We appreciate you guys. See you later.